Gravity.
I know
gravity.
there's
What
things
about
that
gravity?
you have
No, because
read
you
with
see,
your own eyes.
no, because
The things you
military.
haven't seen, Harvey.
If you
Yeah.
fast sleeping,
Yeah.
you need
The
take
prayers
off your
of the
body.
people
Take
in
off your body.
Ukraine had no effect.
Like
So in a
gravitation.
similar way, the
Your-
people,
your
the prayers
mind,
of the people
like
were of no
gravity.
effect.
If you want to fast
So
for
it's similar
sleeping,
to
you need
this
to
book,
fight.
so I'm
Yeah,
continuing
it's
in
for,
the 10-foot
for
square hut. So the first year passed.
No, fast
It was
for
difficult
sleeping.
enough to live, but
Yeah, fast.
when
Can
we
take
looked
off
for
your
some
body.
improvement during the next, it was even
And
worse.
the
For
same
the
gravitation.
pestilence
Yeah,
followed,
Take
and the
off the
prayers of the
body.
people were of no
yeah,
effect.
sleeping. Look, sleeping.
As the days
And
passed, they
forget your
felt like
body.
fish when the water
But,
dries
yeah, and,
up.
together
And
like
respectable citizens who ordinarily wore hats and shoes now went barefooted, begging from house to house.
Yeah, like Newton with
Yeah,
the
this
yeah,
is
apple.
similar to
Look,
when
volleyball.
Nader
Volleyball,
Shah
we say.
and
Your
Abdali
mind.
and
No,
those
gravity.
people.
Yeah, if you
Just during the
if you
time
move
of
6 times.
Mir
for
Takimir
faster.
and
Yeah, easy.
Saad and
Take off body.
Dahlia had a similar problem.
This
I guess.
volleyball,
They have
you
in
focus your
Ukraine and
ball,
it seems
then
here in Japan.
focus your
and,
ball and forget
Oh, is that
your
why
body
you're reading
because you
Forget body.
no because you
I
focus
don't know.
you focus your ball.
I wanted to read
You
the
need to
Well,
The
and you would
10-foot
think of
square
yourself
hut,
as you not think of yourself.
because it's like a predecessor to Basho.
And also, they have the
Basho, the poet, the haiku poet.
The Pingawa and the Inda.
The days passed, they felt like fish when the water dries up.
Right?
yeah,
All
So
you
if I
do is
ever
read
feel that
books
way,
when you
I
sit
guess
in the
I
house, you
probably
read
have
books.
felt that
You have
way.
imbalance because you have
As
nothing.
respectable citizens who ordinarily wore hats and
So,
shoes now
if
went
you read
barefooted,
too many
begging from
books,
house
you
to
need,
house. And while you looked
You need,
in wonder at
you need
their sight, you would
exercise.
suddenly fall
No,
down
but
and
look,
die.
Because
They-
you have
And
too
while they
much
looked in
brain.
wonder at Chris's plight, they would suddenly
Too
fall
much
down and die
brain,
in
you
the
need the
road.
ball.
Oh
no
my God, and by
No,
the
this-
walls and in the
You
highways,
need
you
ball.
could see
Dave,
everywhere the bodies of those who had
Gravity.
died of starvation.
Yeah, gravity.
because you
Oh,
no but up down and run
and
it's
and
gravity
as
I
there
know.
Because
was
you
none
mind
to take them
go
away,
out.
a
Mind
terrible
go out.
stench
Oh, yeah, my
filled the
mind
streets,
No,
and
look,
people
yeah.
walked by
if
with
you
their eyes
look
averted.
David if you so fast
I guess
if you think
this is
go
why
so
he
fast
sort
how
of
you
went
you,
into
you
the
think
10-foot
about
square hut. He saw
you
a lot of tough
you
things
can
happen.
you don't have time
And by the walls and the highways, you could see everywhere the bodies of those who had died of starvation. And as there was none to take them away, a terrible stench filled the streets, and people went by with their eyes averted. The ordinary roads were bad enough. Yeah, but the roads ordinarily roads were bad enough. Yeah, the roads, even the roads in peace times are bad enough. Yeah, the roads are bad enough in a way. Is that why you're going to a square foot hut? You're gonna get a Tesla house or Airstream or what is your plans? Well, I'm just trying to get an in-depth and wise understanding of life. Okay. I guess there's some reason to read this. It's a Japanese classic after all. The roads were bad enough, but in the slums by the riverbed, there was not even room for carts and horses to pass. Yeah, there's not room for the horses to pass even. As for the poor laborers and woodcutters and such like, when they could cut no more firewood, and there was none to help them, they broke up their own cottages and took the pieces into the city to sell. Wow. And what one man could carry was hardly enough to provide him with food for one day. Wow, you could barely eat from breaking up your house. And it was a shocking thing to see among these scraps of firewood, fragments with red lacquer and gold and silver foil still sticking to them. And this because those who could get nothing else broke into the mountain temples and stole the images and utensils and broke them up to sell for kindling. Wow, they just broke up the churches in a way. It must be a wretched and degenerate age when such things are done.
Oh. Damn it.
I thought so.
Thought so.
What you talking about?
Yeah, like it's like I would say like when they break up those historic buildings and things in Ukraine, that's wretched and degenerate what they're doing. Especially if they wreck Odessa or something. Another very sad thing was that those who had children who were very dear to them almost invariably died before them because they denied themselves to give their sons and daughters what they needed. And so these children would always survive their parents. Yeah, the parents looks like they fed the children and they died. Oh my God. And there were babies who continued to feed at their mother's breast, not knowing she was already dead. Oh, I could see why he would turn to Buddhism after countering this stuff. Yeah, I guess that's the grim reality. Now, there was a noble recluse of the Jinsun in the hall of the Ninaji temple called Royukan Oyan, entitled The Word of the Treasury, who was out of pity for the endless number of dead, arranged for some monks to go around the city and write the syllable A on the foreheads of all they found, that they might receive enlightenment and enter Amida's paradise. Oh, okay. So you could write a letter A on the dead people, I guess. They could enter Amida's paradise. Yeah, I guess that's one way to get into paradise. And the number that they counted in within the city in the space of 4 or 5 months between the 5th and the 9th Avenues on the north and south, between Kyogoku and Sushizaku on the east and west was at least 42,300. Wow. That was in the Donbass, or the Donbutts, or the Donbass. Dumbass in the Donbass, or the Donbass. And when there is added to this those who perished before and after this period, and also those in the riverbed and the Surikawa and western city quarters, they must have been almost beyond count. And then there were all the other provinces of the empire. Yeah, there's the regions of Ukraine, the different provinces. It's actually a big country. Huh. It is said that not long ago, in the August stage of the Mikado, Sutoku Ian, in the era of Choso, there was such a visitation, but of that I know nothing. What I have seen with my own eyes was strange and terrible indeed. I know the things that you have read with your own eyes, the things you haven't seen hardly anything strange and terrible. Yeah, you lived in this period of Pax Americano. Yeah, I grew up during Pax Americano. So the first thing that I saw that was even disrupted that was the coronavirus pandemic, which was like a problem lasting a long time. But also you've seen strange and terrible things in books, like when you read about Stalingrad, and yeah, I read strange and terrible things into this podcast. So I won't have to live them. Oh, okay. Are you going to Amida's paradise before they happen? Yeah. What I have seen with my own eyes was strange and terrible enough. Then in the second year of the era Genraku, there was a great earthquake. Wow. Yeah, you were saying something about how Didn't they have like a typhoon or an earthquake? And where's the place that had both a coronavirus and a hurricane and an earthquake? I don't know. Yeah, they say like the Minoan Greek culture or something, like they could have been. Some people theorize they're like get a triple whacking, like they have like, let's say you have war and an earthquake and a pandemic, and you have if you get 3 things going or something, yeah, you could be wiped out. In the second year there was a great earthquake, and this was no ordinary one. The hills crumbled down and filled the rivers, and the sea surged up and overwhelmed the land. The earth split asunder, and water gushed out. The rocks broke off and rolled down into the valleys. What's so funny about this stuff? The rocks broke off and rolled down into the valleys while boats at sea staggered in the swell, and the horses on land could find no sure foothold. What wonder that in the capital of all the temples, monasteries, pagodas, and mausoleums, there should not be one that remained undamaged. Some crumbled to pieces, and some were thrown down, while the dust rose in clouds like smoke around them, and the sound of the falling buildings was like thunder. Those who were in them were crushed at once, while those who ran out did so to find the ground yawning before them. If one has no wings, he cannot fly, and unless one is a dragon, he will find it difficult to ride the clouds. For one terror following on another, there is nothing equal to an earthquake. Oh. Wow, this guy's seen it all. I could see why he went into his 10-foot square hut in the woods. I don't know. I don't know what I would do after I saw these strange and terrible enough things. Among those who suffered was the child of a warrior, some 6 or 7 years old. He had made a little hut under the eaves of the earthen wall and was playing there when the hole fell and buried him. It was very sad to see how his parents cried aloud in their grief as they picked him up all battered and with his eyes protruding from his head. Even a stern samurai at such a time thought it no shame to show signs of his deep feeling. Indeed, I think it quite natural. Oh, so he's saying it's natural to have some deep feelings in this podcast. Yeah. The worst shock soon ceased, but the after tremors continued for some time. Every day there were some 20 or 30 that were beyond the ordinary. After the 10th and 20th day, they gradually came at longer intervals, 4 or 5, and then 2 and 3 in a day. What's that? Oh, those are like missile attacks in Ukraine. Then there would be a day, and then several without any shock at all, but still these aftershocks lasted maybe 3 months. Of the 4 elements, water, fire, and wind are always doing damage. Yeah, interesting. Here he says water, like the water is like a hurricane, fire is a fire, and the wind is like a typhoon type thing, and of the 4 elements, water, fire, and wind are always doing damage, but with the earth, this is comparatively rare. It's interesting how these different elements are doing damage. It was in the year of Saku, I think, that there was a great earthquake, and the head of the great Buddha and the Todaichi at Nara fell, which I consider a very sad loss indeed, but it is said to have been not so severe as the one I have described. On these occasions, it is the way of people to be convinced of the impermanence of all earthly things and to talk of the evil of attachment to them and of the impurity of their hearts. But when the months go by and then the years, we do not find them making mention of such views anymore. Yeah, they talk Am I supposed to talk of the impermanence of things? Yeah, the reason I'm reading this podcast is to talk of the impermanence of all earthly things. On these occasions, it is the way of people to be convinced of the impermanence of all earthly things and to talk of the evil of attachment to them. So, to podcast about the evil of attachment to them and of the impurity of theirs. But when the months go by and then the years, we do not find them making mention of such views anymore. Yeah, that's why I'm making mention of them in this podcast. Thus, it seems to me that all the difficulties of life spring from this fleeting, evanescent nature of man and his habitation, and in other ways, too, the opportunities he has of being troubled and annoyed by things connected with his locality and rank are almost infinite. Yeah, the number of annoying things is almost infinite. That is, in the earthly things. Really? Suppose he is a man of a little account and lives near the mansion of a great man. He may have occasion to rejoice very heartily over something, but he cannot do so openly. And in the same way, if he is in trouble, it is quite unthinkable that he should lift up his voice and weep. He must be very circumspect in his deportment and bear himself in a suitably humble manner, and his feelings are like those of a sparrow near a hawk's nest. Yeah. My feelings are like those of a sparrow near a hawk's nest.
What the hell happened?
Really? I thought you were a little person.